Hi, my name is Katie Anthrop, and I am here to tell you a little bit about the difference between big history and world history. Both of them are options for our incoming freshmen at Stony Creek High School, and both of them will earn a world history credit towards graduation. But they are very different courses. So I teach both of them, so I'm not going to say one is better than the other, but just so that you understand what your child might be signing up for compared to what the other option is. So let's start with big history. Big history is year long, just like regular world history, but we call it a cross-curricular view. It really focuses on testing and evaluating the claims that have been made about our history up to this point. So we do look at a lot of different theories from modern science and about our early universe to kind of track how we have viewed our history over the past. It is an inquiry-based approach to history. And what we mean by that is there's not going to be a time really in big history where I'm going to say, you need to know this fact, and then I'm going to give them a test to see how well they remember that fact. That's not really how big history works, and not really how most teachers teach world history anyways, but I'll get to that in a minute. So instead, it would be, here's this theory about our early universe. Let's see what the evidence is for it and test it and evaluate it and see what flaws there might be or if we trust the data. And so that's why it's really important for kids that sign up for big history that they have an interest in learning and challenging some ideas because it's not just like a kind of sit and get. It's more of a, here's this topic, research it and compare all the different sources that you find and then construct your own kind of understanding. So it does look at the history of the universe. We do start with the Big Bang. So we cover 13.8 billion years of history compared to a traditional history course, which will cover a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand. But we do look at common themes and patterns throughout each unit to help us kind of understand the world we live in. It does cover the same content as regular world history, but on a different scale. So as you can see, the units in big history look a lot different than what they would in a traditional history course. Some of the earlier elements are more science-based. So usually kids who are very successful in big history do have an interest in science. We will cover, like I said, the same content that they cover in regular world. That's usually our later units, but just at a different scale, a little bit more zoomed out approach. But kids will have such strong reading skills by that point in the year that they can really like analyze all of the different pieces of those more human topics with a little bit more depth. So usually, like I said, there's certain things that help kids in big history be a little bit more successful. They really do have to have an interest in learning and have strong written communication skills. So instead of having a huge unit test at the end, they will have an essay that they do. So each unit ends with a 5-paragraph document-based essay. They will be presenting daily in big history. There's a lot of graded discussions. There's a lot of project presentations. And then even just every day when we go over a new concept or a new theory, there is a lot of expectation for daily discussion. There's a lot of, like I said, projects. So someone who is conscientious with due dates, really, like I said, just interested in learning new things. And there is no textbook for big history. So instead, we use a site called the OER project, which I'll show you in a moment. So just consistent access to online resources when they're not in the building and having stable Wi-Fi, because there are a lot of video lectures that they will look at as well. And then just to kind of look at world history, and like I said, I teach both and I love both of them. And world history is such an awesome class. It's like the traditional history, they'll pick up with where they left off from 7th grade. And so students will have a traditional history experience. There'll be tests, quizzes, projects, presentations that you would see in a normal history class. They have a textbook as a primary resource. And the course picks up with 1200 CE where they left off in middle school. So it is a different pacing and scale than big history, but it covers all of those like in depth. It'll cover, the Mongols and Napoleon and World War I. Whereas those in big history, we'll look at them at a more zoomed out perspective. In regular world, we'll dive a little bit deeper and look at just like the human to human interactions that are taking place. If you are a history nerd, or your child's a history nerd like me and just loves everything history, then world history might be a better fit for them, just because they do get that little bit deeper analysis of just the human topics. And we will zoom out just like we do in big history and look comparatively because it's a world history course. But for the kids who just like, I really love everything about the French Revolution, then world history would be a great fit for them. So both classes, like I said, cover the same content, just on a different scale. And then all of the information for Big History is actually housed on this site called oerproject.com. And so you can see that's the timeline I pulled for you. And then even, so Big History Project is a product of like all of these different universities who have kind of combined to make this resource. So all the resources are online. And when we're looking at different topics in Big History, like I said, there's no textbook. So instead we're using the OER project site, and we're looking at lectures from people in those actual fields. So like when we're talking about chemistry, they're actually watching videos from actual chemists. When we're talking about physics, they're watching videos from astrophysicists. So there's a lot of video lectures, and there's also a lot of articles that they have to read that are written by professionals in those fields. So that's why we kind of encourage kids who have more interest in reading and stronger reading and writing skills. Big History might be a little bit better fit for them just because of the heavy focus on literacy. So they are both fantastic courses. Like I said, I teach both of them. So hopefully I'll have your child in either one. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to email me. My email is kantrup@rochester.k12.mi.us. That's all I got. Thank you.